Welcome back, my friends, to another episode of the Suited Kings podcast. Today, we do have a very special guest, but before we get into that, I just want to remind you guys that this Friday and Saturday, January 16th and 17th, at Running Aces Casino in Columbus, Minnesota, we have the Suited Kings, self-proclaimed fish fry with two $300 tournaments, one on Friday, one on Saturday. Again, these are one-day tournaments. It's essentially just a meetup game that Running Aces is hosting for us. We really hope that we see all of your faces there this weekend so that we can continue to host such events. And aside from the $300 tournaments on Saturday, we have a $150 tournament, as well as no limit cash games. We call them time no limit cash games each night, and those will get rolling as interest kind of grows. So really looking forward to seeing you guys there. Tilted Compass will be there with a bunch of Suited Kings hoodies, as well as their original gear. It's going to be a lot of fun. So looking forward to that. And one last thing, if you slow roll Wes and it's a good one, I might have to toss you a Tilted Compass hoodie. It sounds good.
Great.
Wes,
I'm just going to be living in anxiety the whole weekend. Like I have this great bluff on the river. And then after a minute of thinking, someone just looks up and smirks and puts in the call.
I love it. Well, without further ado, Wes, I'm going to pass you the baton. Let's get into it.
All right. Well, as Max mentioned, today we have a special guest. A lot of you are probably familiar with him if you play in Minnesota. His name is Arlo Strozewski, right?
Yeah, you nailed it.
Let's go.
Perfect. There we go. Welcome, Arlo. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm doing great. Thank you guys for having me. I'm excited to
talk
about all the things poker.
Yeah, man, for sure. And for those who aren't familiar with Arlo, he just started. It looks like his first live cash was in 2022. But I mean, he came onto the scene with a bang. He actually, from what I show here, he won his very first tournament, which was like an $80 at Canterbury. But over that time, he's amassed in almost 300,000 in earnings, and that's just live. I mean, I would go as far to say that Arlo's even more so a online player. Would you agree with that, Arlo?
I think so. Yeah, I've started, playing live poker primarily as I didn't even know online poker existed back when I started. But now I think I've transitioned to being a more online player for sure.
Well, also just want to give you a big congrats on being the fourth most profitable player on Global last year.
Thank you. Yeah,
that's sick. That's out of a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a lot of familiar faces at the top of that list. I know Jason was up there too. There's a couple other Minnesota guys. So I was kind of shooting for first, and I think I did choke it a little bit on the last Sunday, but
oh, really?
What it is. Okay. Yeah, I had a big run in the Hydra, and that would have put me over the top. But
okay.
So still fun to compete there.
You said you and remind me if I'm wrong or not. Did you say you're 26 or 27 now?
I'm 26. Yeah. I guess I'll turn 27 in a couple months here.
Okay. And when did you start playing?
I started playing poker somewhat, unseriously when I was like 18, because you can gamble in Minnesota at 18. Yeah. So I go play 3-6 limit, and think I knew everything
with the old guys.
Yeah, didn't know anything. Sit down with $100, whatever. But seriously getting into the game and thinking about it on a different level, and taking it more seriously was after college. So I'd say I was probably 22 years old. So it's been 3-4 years now.
And did you graduate college?
I did. Yeah. I attended, Madison, Wisconsin. Graduated with an engineering degree.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I've always kind of, you struck me as like a really smart individual, and engineering's, I mean, that could be a lot of different things, but just generally, that's pretty sweet.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't necessarily something that I was passionate about. It just kind of happened to be something I was good at.
Okay.
So I kind of went that way. I always wish I'd taken a few more years in between high school and college to kind of figure out what I actually wanted to do.
That's fair.
Maybe would have stumbled upon poker more quickly, but yeah, it is what it is.
It's coming from someone who did take that break in between the two. I don't know if it necessarily helped me find what I love doing more. I definitely wasted some more time in my youth, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah. I wasted plenty of time alongside college. So, I get that.
Well, you told us, actually, this is your first week on the new job. You recently quit your last job.
Yeah, that's correct. I worked as a typical engineer for about 3 years out of college. And then my last day was Friday the 9th, so like 5 days ago.
Do you want to tell us about your new job, the hours, and what that looks like?
Yeah, my new job is going to be playing full-time poker.
Okay.
So you'll definitely see me around at more of the live stops. I think I'm planning to travel, 8 to 10 times to all the big stuff. Planning to spend a good amount of time at WSOP, maybe like a month or so,
Okay.
depending on how cushy the bankroll is at that point, because I know that can
Mhm.
be a factor.
Yeah.
Other than that, I plan to play 5 days a week online, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Okay. And
And
do you have a set schedule for like when you play versus and then studying as well? Is that something that you're because I know for Wes is some, out of you us three, I'm the only one who doesn't play specifically professionally, right?
Mhm.
Wes, well, maybe not so much anymore. Wes, maybe you can correct me, but you had more
Mhm.
dedicated hours with dedicated study time in the past, didn't you?
I don't know if I would call it that. I know, like, when I was in Arlo's shoes, like, literally same age, it was 2 months before my 27th birthday, I think, when I
That's
went
crazy.
full time.
Yeah.
But
Exactly the
I
same.
probably, like, just studied a lot during the daytimes.
Okay.
It wasn't necessarily specific, and then, you know yeah, but at that point, I hadn't even been very successful online.
Okay.
And so I was like, I need to be able to be successful online if I'm gonna do this full time, and so that's what really motivated me. Um, yeah, and then, playing wise, it is good to give yourself a schedule because I can struggle with that, especially with cash games where there's no set end time. Like, you can you can play as long of a session, as many sessions as you want to when you're your own boss. So
On that note, Wes, I actually don't make fun of me, but I banned myself from online cash in 2026.
really,
I'm not doing it, man. I'll sit
you're
there and
done.
just like yeah, I don't have the discipline to have a start and a stop time. Um, and you know what, I just get I don't know exactly what it is, but I'm just not great
You
at it.
also you also just don't play cash really. Like
I
you're a
don't. You're right.
tournament. Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Um
But yeah,
anyways, yeah.
no online cash for me. What about you, Arlo? You play cash at all?
I
I've
saw
been
Arlo playing 10-20 the other day.
How did
I've
that
been
go?
I've been dabbling. It's been going quite well. I think my style does good to combat some of the more regular styles that you'll see. Um,
Okay.
so yeah,
I'm
I've been dabbling, not necessarily knowing what I'm doing, but kind of using my foundational poker knowledge to do what I think is right, and it's been paying off for me. But yeah, primarily tournaments, exploring the cash space a little bit more.
okay.
So excited for that development.
I'm
Mhm.
excited to kind of break down some hands with you and see what that foundation looks like. A lot of people, I haven't got to play a lot with you. We have played live a few times together. We played online probably quite a few times together. You're always just a threat, though, and that I mean that as a compliment, right? I'm curious to see what that foundation looks like. So, you said after college you started kind of taking things seriously and started studying and stuff like that. Um, what did that look like? What does studying look like to you?
Yeah, a lot of my early days studying was just conversing with friends, being like, "Hey, I played this hand. What do you think about it? What would you have done differently?" Stuff like that. And now I've evolved into using solvers and other tools, coaching resources that are out there for free on the web. I don't really pay for any
Okay.
coaching right now,
Okay.
but uh, I think I've surrounded myself with a strong community, or a community of strong poker players, and we kind of run sims and run hands through GTO Wizard and stuff
Okay.
like that, and talk about the outputs and why it might be doing a certain thing, and why it might not be doing some other things, and how to adapt that to players. So it's really quite in depth where I have it now.
That leads me to a really good question. One that I think a lot of like newer players struggle with is being able to transition from not studying solvers into studying something like that. What is it that helped you make that transition into studying? Is it just your passion for the game, or yeah, what helped you take that next step?
Yeah, I think it's quite difficult to get into solvers. I think the main hurdle to overcome is understanding why they do things. And that comes from both analyzing or looking at your opponent's range as well as your range. So if your solver output has you 3-betting ace-9 suited, then it assumes that your opponent is going to fold ace-10 offsuit. So ace-9 suited would be your bluff. And that's why it is doing that. So it's a deeper level than just reading what's on the screen.
Okay.
It's understanding what the intention of the action you're taking is.
Okay.
And I think that just comes with time. There's a little bit, maybe more experienced players can help guide you through that as well. I know I joined some group study sessions that are just people reviewing their own hands, and someone more knowledgeable will often chime in and say, hey, well, typically on these boards, you're going to see a 40% bet size, and this is why. So it's cool to get that insight from a little bit more experienced players.
I agree. Yeah, I kind of use Wes as someone. He's definitely helped me understand solvers better, and exactly as you explained, it's the intention of why it has you do something. Like you said, for example, turning ace-9 of spades into a bluff because you know ace-10 is going to fold. It's funny because like it's kind of unintuitive because ace-9 suited seems like it could be a strong hand to an amateur player, right?
Yeah, I probably could have used a more drastic example than
No, that's a
something like
good.
fringe, but
yeah,
yeah.
it's simple. No, I like it.
Yeah, but I think that's a good thing. That's actually a good example, though, is like a lot of times in these pre-flop spots, you are taking the bottom of your suited range and 3-betting it instead of just calling, because then you'll fold out offsuit hands that dominate you, and that that can be like from the big blind, it could be your queen 9 suited because from the low jack they're opening queen 10 off, jack 10 off, king 10 off, and so you take your like your stuff that can be dominated, your jack 9 suited, queen 9 suited, and 3-bet it. That's kind of the idea, and I think that was like I for a few years ago I specifically remember looking at 30 big blinds in a tournament in position where we're 3-betting the ace-7, ace-8 suited because they can open the ace-9, ace-10 off from these spots. So there's always a million things you can kind of memorize, but I do feel like Arlo, would you say when you study with solvers, it's like recognizing those things and sort of putting them into buckets of like you find a way to simplify it, don't you?
Absolutely, yeah. You shouldn't aim to memorize every single output in every single situation. You should look for overarching themes, and I think on GTO Wizard specifically, there's a reports button or like a tab that shows you like overall heuristics of certain board types, and you can kind of compartmentalize from there and set your strategy. So you're like, when I see this from these positions, I know that I can bet this size with my whole range, stuff like that. So just making it, I think that's where solvers help, is just making the game more automatic, so that you have less time to spend on, I don't know, unimportant decisions. I mean, every decision's important, but less important.
Yeah, that makes sense. And do you have like, I actually remember when we had Jason on here, he said this. Do you have like one on a specific flop, will you have one bet size you use, or are you going to use multiple? How do you go about that?
I'm more of a player to use multiple, and I think I'm also more of a player to deviate off of solver strategy just based on what I think my opponents are doing. So that kind of gets into my process a little bit as a player, which might be a little bit different than Jason's, as he's prides himself more on knowing the answer from a game theory perspective, or a GTO or a GTO play, whereas I kind of play more off intuition and feel and things of that nature.
I do want to add, if you haven't listened to that episode yet, maybe a year ago or so, we put out an episode with Jason.
Yeah, it's about a year.
He's another young crusher. You and Jason are good friends, is that right?
Yeah. A few of us are are quite close in a group of about 6. So
Okay.
he's one of my great friends. Yeah.
You guys have been terrorizing Canterbury and Aces since you came around. Yeah, I'm familiar with the group. List off some names there. Throw out some shout outs to who's in that group.
Yeah. So it's myself, Tanner Prey, Jason Hoffman, Leo Pinamonti, I think his last
That's
name.
the best
Yeah.
I could do.
And then Joe Larson.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm definitely forgetting someone.
Yeah.
But
Well, yeah.
That's a 5 out of listed off.
Yeah.
No hard feelings, but I do. So, how did you guys all meet? Are these like friends from like prior to school, or from school, or post school?
These are all post school friends. We all met through poker in some different kind of ways. I think Joe and I met 3-4 years ago playing 2-100 at Canterbury, just like drinking, having beers on a Saturday night, and we both had like massive stacks. Like we both had like 1,500 in front of us at 2-100, and just breaking tables until like 3 a.m. So we got familiar there, and then I actually busted Jason out of the cheap and deep I won back a couple of years ago. He still hates me for that one.
That was your first big win, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you can you touch on how important that group of friends has been to improving your game?
Yeah, I mean, I attribute all of my learned knowledge and success to them, to be honest. They've been further ahead than me. I've kind of been like the straggler, just picking up their breadcrumbs that they're leaving behind. Okay.
Well, it's just like my thought is that, just one thing that we say a great way to study is by surrounding yourself with players who you find better than you, so that you can just kind of, there's always that saying that you surround yourself with people you want to be more like, or however it goes. And that alone will just kind of improve you. But it not only do you learn from them, but I'm sure it motivates you to get better as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think the foundations and having a supportive community around you is like one of the most important things in poker.
Okay.
I think
nice.
I think a few others are like physical health and mental health, and then whatever happens after that, it's up to the cards.
Yeah, for sure. Now you said you're going to be playing a lot more live next year. Is this going to be? You said WSOP's one. Also, shout out to you. October of last year, you got, was it 4th or 3rd in the MSPT?
Yeah, it was 4th.
But that was a massive one. I mean, still is for 95K, I think, right?
Yep, that's correct.
That's awesome. So I mean, that probably was a nice boost to the bankroll as well. And then I think, was it right after that on like I don't know how close it was, but I remember like seeing in Discord, you hit two massive scores on one Sunday.
Yeah. I think that was right before, wasn't it?
Was it before?
I think so. They were like right on top of each other in my mind.
Yeah.
I kind of went on an insane heater at the end of the year there from like September to December. That was like a similar Sunday. I think it was like 90,000 I profited that Sunday.
Do you want to talk a little bit about what happened then?
Well, I am salty that I didn't close out either of them. Both of those big scores were second places.
Hey, you're talking to the king of third place here, so
I guess I got that beat.
Oh wait, hold on. But there was a Sunday Blitz this last weekend. Hold on, we'll get into that. We'll get to that.
Yeah. Still the king of second over here. But anyways, those two big onlines were, I believe, Club WPT Gold ran a 600K guarantee. I think it was a PKO. 2-day event, so I got second in that for 49,000.
That's insane.
And then the other one was their 218 100K guarantee, or maybe it was 125 at the time. They're changing all the time.
Yep.
I got second in that one for like 19,000, and then I cashed a handful of others for 5K, 3K. Like, it was insane. I didn't lose an all-in all day.
Don't you love that? Just the purest of days.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It was unlike anything. Yeah. Some people say I'm the luckiest person they know, so that's good.
I want to kind of try to make you feel better about the king of second place, because that definitely isn't the case live. I don't see a single second place on your Hendon Mob. Meaning, I see 3 first places, 0 second places. So you've won your 3 heads-up matches you've had live at least.
Yeah, I mean, I love heads-up poker in general. I think it's one of the purest forms. I love playing it.
And you get to just play every hand, right? Like, you
yeah,
get to play
absolutely.
poker.
That's my favorite part. Yeah.
We asked Ari, what his favorite form of poker was, and he said heads up because he gets to play all the hands. And I'm like, that's as well put as it could be.
It is
Yeah, it's
fun.
super intricate. You get to think pretty hard, or not if you don't want to. I guess
Yeah,
that's up to you.
I mean, you should,
but
right?
yeah,
And there's just a lot of dynamics. I feel like heads up is a great place to try and improve your game because,
Mhm.
well, it's hard to get to it, but when you get there, knowing what you're doing is pretty crucial because that's where all the money's at. So,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Would you say there's a point in your, I mean, for lack of a better term, career of poker so far where you've had like a breakthrough? You know, do you view this last like September, October as the breakthrough, or was there like a smaller one before that?
Yeah, I think I've had a few, and it might take me a minute to think of all of them. The first couple kind of breakthroughs I had were definitely like mental
Mhm.
game related. So like tilt or other things like that. Tilt being the biggest one I can think of right now is because I would just build up a roll and then something terrible would happen and I'd just tilt the whole thing off and then I'd have zero. Um, so I did that like 3 or 4 times, and after the third time, it was like, all right, you finally learned this lesson. Like, let's not do that. What are the things that are causing you to tilt? And I kind of just eliminated the things I was tilting my money off on. So much like Max, I banned myself from cash games.
Yes, yes.
I also was like a table game degenerate back
Mm.
then as well, but I haven't played a table game in like 2 years.
Nice. Well done.
I'm sure drinking too. I haven't drank much at all in the past year and a half. So a lot of addictive personalities in my family. So I think
Okay.
overcoming that was kind
That's
of one of the
huge.
bigger ones for
Yeah.
poker success. Yeah. And then I think other ones are related to studying, like just creating a system for yourself where every hand you can attack it from the same spot. You can be like, okay, what is my opponent's range? What does my hand want to do against that? If they call this bet, then what am I going to do? So just building a process of like questions you can ask yourself every single hand, I think was another breakthrough because I was kind of just mindlessly clicking buttons, if you will, through hands.
Did that come
Yeah.
over time, or is that something you developed, like you sat down and really just and worked on?
It comes over time. I think I pulled in a lot of different resources, and I mean, I could make some recommendations on
Yeah, we'd love to hear
things
those.
that I've used. I know for cash games specifically, I love Hungry Horse Poker. Don't
Okay.
know if you're familiar with
Yep.
I've
his
seen his
YouTube
Twitter posts.
content.
I haven't seen his YouTube, but I will say briefly, not to cut you off. I love the way he articulates in his Twitter post because like he can make a difficult concept make sense within a paragraph or two.
Yeah, he's very good at simplifying the game,
Mm-hmm.
and I think a big point of his is not to overcomplicate it. I think that's a really easy thing for a lot of players to do, new and experienced,
Agreed.
is kind of make things more complicated than it needs to be. So
Okay.
his content has been pretty instrumental in creating some
Okay.
of that
And
process.
people can
Yeah.
find that on YouTube.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got some paid stuff, but I just gobble up the free content. Like I said, I don't know how much more value paying for courses and coaching would yield me. It's hard for me to see that right now.
Yeah. And let me ask you, have you had the opportunity to experience like any big downswings yet?
That's actually funny because all my friends are like, "Oh, you're never gonna survive mentally a downswing," and I'm like, "It's never gonna happen."
Oh
um,
no. Knock on
so
wood immediately.
yeah, not really. I mean, the downswings that I can think of were more self-inflicted, like I was talking about, would just be
Yeah.
like build up
Yeah.
a 10K roll, like put $500 in, spin it to 10K, blow it to zero. Like that's the biggest downswing I've had, and it was self-inflicted, for sure. So
It's truly
That's
impressive.
crazy.
I mean, I'm
Yeah.
looking at your shark scope graph here on global specifically right now.
yeah, all
And
my other ones are garbage, but that one's super good.
I have not actually looked at the other ones yet, but I will say though, it looks like so. I mean, you have over global, you have 8,000, almost 9,000 tournaments played on there.
Mhm.
you started in 2021, and then by January the beginning of the year of 2025, you had made roughly 20K or something, right?
Yep.
And then from January 1st, we just see this massive climb up this mountain here. What clicked for you then? Was that when you started really diving into study? What changed at that point in your life that helped you create that trajectory?
Yeah, I think the spark that ignited my deeper understanding of the game was actually I did do a few, like a handful, like 5 to 10 coaching sessions with someone in a group that I'm associated with. They probably won't be known by name, but his name's Bo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
Someone
is in
who
the
I'm
suited.
actually
Wes is actually
I'm
getting
actually
coached by him
working with
too.
him a bit.
Oh,
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah. He's in the Suited Kings Discord. He's been in. He was a great resource in getting me started on thinking about things in a different way.
Bo's hourly is about to increase.
Certainly, yeah. He's not cheap. He's not cheap. But
okay.
I think that's kind of when I started building the strong foundation. I think
that's
and
awesome.
everything after that was a result of that.
Wes kind of caught some heat right as he started working with him too. Maybe slightly before, but it definitely continued after he started working with him. So maybe there's something there. I might have to hit him up and see if he can help me kind of.
Yeah, I don't know what his availability looks like. Can't speak to that, but
no.
an
I will
excellent
say,
resource.
Yeah, I can't. I think he did say he was looking for a couple more people potentially, but I will say, you have to have a big database of hands.
Mhm.
Like we're only looking at my it would have to be on a site where you have the tracking of your full stats.
Yep.
And so if for those, including Max, who only play on like global clubs and Club WPT, it's not really going to be super viable.
Right.
Yeah. You'd have to go out of your way to save an entire tournament of hands or record it. There's ways to get around it, but yeah.
So it's safe to say that it's coaching with someone like Bo isn't for newer players. It's for someone who's already kind of developed a good foundation, has a large sample of hands to go over, and then you can pick apart your leaks with.
Yeah. I think that's a strength of his, but I think he also can, spin up a new player as well.
You think so? Okay.
I think, if you're going to go to him, you just have to be ready to get torn apart because he doesn't lay it on nice, and that's what helps me learn. So
yeah, he says it exactly how it is, and
mm-hmm.
I guess for me, I think so far the most useful thing was not even reviewing specific hands, but literally just like looking at my stats and him being like, "Oh yeah, this is a leak here," like because it was the sort of thing where I knew I had them, and then when he was able to look at the data and point them out, I was like, oh, that's so simple. Like,
yeah,
it's not to implement, but it's like, oh, I get what I have to do.
Okay.
And
you just had that aha moment.
Yeah. It's like lifting the wool off your eyes. Yeah.
I like that a lot.
It's great. And I feel like, anyone who wants to take their game more seriously, I think would benefit from whether it's Bo or someone who is good at that. But
just straight up joining our Discord. Like you said, Bo is even in the Discord. So make sure to hop in there and don't harass Bo, but hop in there and throw some hands in the hand review thing and and go from there. Do you guys want to get into some hand breakdowns?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go ahead and do that. I actually, and Arlo, you said you do have the hand history from our final table last week. Do you have that?
Yeah, I have it in my noggin. I have a couple others pulled up too. But
okay, cool. Yeah, well, let's get into a few of them. I would love to break down this hand. And Wes has actually not heard this hand yet, so I guess we can title this part "Did Max punt or not?"
Yeah, but now I have an answer that I have a preconceived notion that is going to bias me.
Is it yes?
It is yes.
I don't think I did, so we'll see. Maybe.
We'll
Arlo
see.
and I slightly chatted about it afterwards, and I agreed a lot with what he had to say about it. But Arlo, do you want to go ahead and go over the hand?
Yeah. So, not that this is going to sound like I'm rubbing it in, but I don't remember how many people were left. So if you
I
got
want to say
6?
it was 7. Yeah, 6
okay, yeah.
or 6 or 7. 6, I think.
6 or 7.
It was the Club WPT. What was it? The $33 10K.
It was the 110 15K flat bounty.
110 15K. Okay, with
runs at like 11 a.m. or something.
Is it like a $50 bounty per person? Is that right?
Usually, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't play much tournaments during the day, but when I do, I seem to be finding Arlo's tables.
Yeah.
I am out and about for sure.
Uh,
But this one took place. I think you were probably third out of 6 people with
I think I was
around.
second. I think it was.
Okay.
Yeah, it was close. I want to say. Do you remember what? This is where I struggle to remember. I want to say you had roughly 55, and I had roughly 30 to 35 bigs, something like that. Does that sound close?
Yeah, I might have had more. I might have had like 80.
Okay.
I
Oh,
had a
you had
lot of
more.
chips.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. And I want to say I was
But
roughly
yes.
35 to start.
Yep, exactly. So I think you opened, we'll call it the low jack, and I actually flatted the high jack, which
Yep.
I mean, we talked about this a little bit.
We did. Yeah.
With 6 left, when I have such a massive chip lead, I should probably be 3-betting you pretty relentlessly.
Yeah. Thank you
But
for
there were a
taking it
couple
easy on
shorter
me.
stacks behind.
You did get
so-
all my chips regardless. So.
Yeah, I did. Even though it was a bounty, I didn't want to commit myself to some of those stacks behind with the hand I had. So I'll leave the hand I had till the end.
Okay.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think the big blind came along as well. So originally we were 3 ways to the flop.
Yeah.
And the flop came
Yeah.
queen, jack. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Wes.
So we'll keep Arlo's hand a mystery. Max, do we want to share yours or should we?
Sure. Yeah. I
Yeah,
opened
but-
low jack with the queen jack of diamonds.
Oh, queen jack of diamonds and the flop contains a queen and a jack.
It does.
Yeah, it was a good
Okay.
start.
It's like queen jack 6 or something. Wait, I didn't have diamonds, right? I had queen jack suited, but was it diamonds? Now I'm struggling to remember the hand.
I don't know if it really is super important, but
Okay.
I don't remember. Yeah.
Okay.
But the flop came queen jack, I believe queen jack of hearts. There
Okay.
were 2 hearts on the flop.
That's what it was. Okay, I did have queen jack of diamonds. I was concerned because of your hand. I didn't want to give away your hand yet, but
You're good.
Continue.
Yeah. So, and again, the big blind was involved, so we're 3 ways to the flop here, and it was queen jack, some low card. Let's call it the 3 of clubs. Big blind checks, max bets somewhere around 40%, I believe.
Sounds right.
So like 4 bigs into 8 or 9. I call next to act, and the big blind gets out of the way.
Okay.
So the turn is a flush completing 8 of hearts, I believe.
Actually, you know what, Arlo? I will correct you. I think I sized up on this flop. I think I went 70 or 80. I went 4.5 into like 6, I think.
Okay. Yeah.
I think that's what it was. 4.5 into 6. So it was roughly over 10 bigs by the 4.5. So it's like roughly 15 bigs
15,
on the turn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Then turn completes a whole bunch of draws. I think it was the 8 of hearts. So
I believe you're correct. I believe.
Yeah. So you checked, and I proceeded to bet somewhere around half pot.
Yep.
Setting up a good, nice, clean river jam.
Yeah. Does that give you a tip on the strength of his hand or no? Maybe it doesn't.
I mean, it shouldn't.
Bluffs.
It shouldn't. Yeah. But anyways, you called, so now there's like 29-ish big blinds in the pot, and you have maybe 21 behind or something like that.
Yeah.
And the river was inconsequential. I think it was another low card.
Yep.
Yeah.
I check.
Yep. And then I jammed.
Arlo stuffs it, and I pretty quickly snapped. I mean, it was probably within 3 seconds I had my chips in there, and you know,
Did we run into the ace 10 of hearts?
No, we did not run into the ace 10 of hearts. We did run into a flush. He did have a flush, if I remember correctly. What was it, like 5-6 of hearts or 6-5 of hearts or something?
No. Yeah, 6-5 of hearts.
Yeah. So, and I'm curious. And I guess there's a bunch of things that we should take into consideration here. There were, I think, 2 other pretty short stacks, maybe 10-ish big blind stacks, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Wes, what do you think? Like, I want to get your thoughts here. And then Arlo and I can maybe discuss what we discussed as well.
Yeah, it's tricky. It is tricky because, like, we do have a very strong hand.
And we're also up against, and not to bump you here, but Arlo also is chip leading at this point. And where you mentioned he's incentivized, I feel like, to apply some extra ICM pressure with his bluffs. So there should be more bluffs in there because of that, or do you disagree?
So I mean, yes. The tricky thing is this. I don't see Arlo flatting here with many offsuit hands, if any. Like apart from a few pairs, like I think his flats are going to be very weighted towards suited hands, and then so when he calls the flop, that's going to narrow it to either a draw or a pair. If he has a jack, he's just going to check back and get to showdown. If he has a
Yeah.
queen, he's not going to go for it all. If he has a different suit, it was hearts on the board, right? If he has like spades, he's going to mostly be folding flop.
Mm-hmm.
And so like I agree with you in general, but on this sort of board, it's like, are the bluffs just going to be the 3 combos of king 10 suited that aren't hearts,
That
or
didn't
maybe
three
like
bet
ace?
pre.
Yeah, and then the ace 10s. Like, does he have ace 10 offsuit with a heart? I think that would be a big, like that would ace king's always 3 betting, right?
I
Ace
think
10 might
I
be.
made a mistake by adding, again, I have a lot of respect for Arlo's game. And so by saying this, it's not to take away from that, but I thought I kept in there like King 10-0, which
Sure.
in hindsight seems to be incorrect. But so I thought those options, which by the river is a bluff, by the way, guys. It flopped an open ender and is a bluff, but I still considered those hands. Obviously, yeah, I was wrong. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not like fully arguing for a fold. I'm just kind of going through the process of
yeah.
that's what
Well, right. I guess
my
that's what do we
yeah.
what do we do? The question is like, do I just find the fold here with this hand?
And I think the conclusion Max and I reached to was fold versus everyone, but maybe if you know the player is capable, you probably should call this one at
Yeah.
some frequency. And we talked about, like you were saying, most of my bluffs are going to either come from under pairs to the board. So like deuces, fours, fives or sixes, I think were non-set pairs.
Yeah.
So hands like that. And then I think you can take ace 10 suited types with the backdoor flush draw that might have bricked out.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, yeah, it was like ace 9 suited and maybe ace 10 offsuit if I have it, because
Yeah.
I will be 3-betting king 10 suited, king queen suited, king jack suited.
And
I
well, and
think
the
the
thing
flat,
is like,
Yeah.
the flat is what
but can
threw me for
I
the biggest curveball, by the way. Like I totally expected to just get 3-bet there, but go ahead, Wes.
Yeah.
yeah, the thing I'm thinking though is max bet 3/4 on queen jack low card. Like I think you're just folding out fives and stuff
I
on the
did,
flop.
yeah, and you know what?
Especially we're 3 ways on the flop.
I did
That's
bet
a good
big on
point.
this flop.
Yeah.
I do remember that. So I think you're right. I think that kind of narrows it down even more with the sizing I took on the flop.
For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
So pretty difficult to find
Hands you would
bluffs
continue
then.
with are 9-10 suited as well as hearts, and both of those turn
I
me.
guess
So
maybe do you turn 9-8 suited 10-8
Yep.
suited into a bluff?
9-8.
Yep, exactly. That's where I was going to arrive
Oh,
at.
9-8. Okay,
As well.
yeah. Pair
Yeah.
with
So the third pair.
blocker.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. And again, I told you out of respect for your game, like I think you can find those bluffs as well.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Do
Yeah.
you let me ask you, do you think that this image helps you? I mean, not that do you think, I guess we know the answer to this, but like how has that image helped you get paid and how do you balance that?
Yeah. I mean, I certainly try to create the image of, bluffing in insane spots or for insane amounts so that I can get paid
Yeah.
for insane amounts and stuff like that. And I mean, I have one hand to go over that will kind of show how I find some of those bluffs.
Okay, I like that.
Because I do launch it in there, and I mean, people have seen me bluff it off in probably atrocious spots, but I'm just gonna do it anyways.
Well, from the famous words of the legend Josh Reichert, if you're not punting, you're not trying.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. Yeah.
All right.
Trial by fire.
So before we move on to the next hand here, I guess do we just chalk this up to we could find a fold, but it is kind of slightly a cooler at the same time, or what do you think we land on here?
I think it's quite difficult to find bluffs. So I mean,
Probably land on fold.
I'll
for
let
you.
Wes chalk it up because I was involved in the hand and
Be like
bias.
Bo. Be
But
like Bo and
yeah,
slay me. Just just crush my
Well,
soul.
yeah, it's the sort of thing where I agree. Arlo's going to find bluffs when they're available, and in that sense, it can only be, it can't be like that bad of a call off. I think in general, this spot, despite having a pretty clean top two pair, I should say clean on the flop.
My hand is
A lot of
specifically
the
a bluff
things
catcher though, because he's
it
not value
is,
betting worse.
yeah. Well, I guess we didn't even like
Right?
what if he trapped aces? I don't know.
yeah.
Yeah,
I was just thinking about that, and I don't. Yeah, I don't think so. But
that is one thing though. Like if we don't know who we're up against, that could be a consideration. Like, oh, is this person calling queen eight suited, jack eight suited?
mhm,
Because with your line, they're gonna think that hand's good, and
for sure.
But they
it,
wouldn't play bet turn jam river with those hands, right? Or maybe I guess with. Oh wait, queen eight's two pair.
yeah,
Excuse me.
yeah,
Excuse me. Maybe not queen nine suited, but queen eight suited.
mhm. Yeah. It's tricky. Like, I certainly don't think it was some sort of punt.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
tricky. Like, I think there are. I think we can fold this against a lot of players, um, but they have to fall into the category of maybe playing reasonably pre-flop and like logical enough, but not someone we think is going to be over bluffing ever.
Mhm,
Because then their pre-flop range will be reasonable. Because like, yeah, if someone can show up here with, or I guess maybe the way they play the flop, like if they're going to float with the pocket pairs, or if whatever the bottom card is, if they could have flopped that pair,
mhm.
like
Okay. Well,
it's tricky.
let's go ahead and just give credit where it's due. Shout out to Arlo for shipping that tournament. He ended
Yeah,
up using my
yeah.
chips and winning the thing. So congrats to you, my friend.
Thank you.
That was awesome. And it seemed to be pretty quick too. You sent me a message not long after, like, got him.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
So
Quick work.
I love it. So you had a hand that you said might kind of be one where you got creative with a bluff, or
Yeah, yeah. This is actually a cash game hand, so I find it a little bit easier to get more creative when there are deeper stacks. Sometimes I feel a little bit handcuffed, like this person's not going to fold for 30 big blinds,
yeah.
but I'm sure everyone feels that way. Anyways,
Is this in 10-20?
it's in 510.
5-10. I mean, still big online.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Do you want me to like share the interface, or should I just talk about it?
You can just
Because
talk about it.
I have the hand pulled up. Okay. So button opens. We're 110 big blinds effective. Well, I guess I should leave out the big blind. We're 103 big blinds effective. So button opens to 2. I have 10-9 suited clubs in the small blind. I 3-bet to 8. And a little bit into my strategy here, in a cash game, you're theoretically supposed to 3-bet a little bit bigger,
Yep.
probably
Mhm.
to around 10, maybe 11 big blinds.
Yep.
But I use the smaller size just personally because I like to play a lot more hands. So I'll be 3-betting things that you shouldn't be 3-betting,
Mhm.
just given who I'm playing against.
I immediately like how you deviate your sizing though to counteract that part though. Like that alone is creative.
hmm But anyways, so we make it 8. The button makes it 20. So this is a 4-bet pot. We have 10-9 of clubs, so we will be calling 103 big blinds effective. So this is in line with the theory outside of the sizings.
Okay.
Mhm.
But so we continue. We get king, jack, 7, king of hearts, jack of spades, 7 of clubs. So we have a double gutter, backdoor flush draw. Overall, kind of a sketchy board for both of us.
Yeah.
I mean, it interacts well with both our ranges.
Mhm.
But anyways, we check. And I did actually look up this hand, so I kind of know the theory behind it. But the button bets 10 big blinds, which is into 41, so
Nice and small.
25% pot.
Definitely not
Uh,
folding.
Yeah, not folding. There's a couple different options here. I mean, you can just run your equity here.
Okay.
You can just jam for 85
Mhm.
bigs. You have a double gutter, you have backdoor flush draw, you have fold equity against hands like ace queen. The opponent might fold queens,
Yeah.
tens.
Yeah. Ace 5 suited, ace 4 suited.
Yep. You're getting folds from a lot of ace highs that are bluffs, but you're like bluffing them back.
Mhm.
So yeah, there's room to jam here. I just thought this player was overly tight, and I didn't want to take that route. I
Mhm.
figured I'd evaluate on later streets.
Okay.
So a big part of my strategy is seeing what my opponent presents me for information. So I mean,
Mhm.
I can assume the quarter pot bet here is just a range bet and a 4-bet pot, so he's betting every hand in his range.
Yep.
Um,
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
so
For
not a
sure.
lot of information to be gathered here, but we do call. And the turn is the 10 of hearts. So we have king of hearts, jack of spades, 7 of clubs, 10 of hearts. With 61 big blinds in the middle, we
You have
can
third
donk
pair,
this
right?
card. Yeah, I have third pair. Yep,
Okay.
10, 9 of clubs.
Yeah.
We can donk this card sometimes. It looks a little funky, and we do have like multiple different sizes, so we can quarter pot donk, or rather third pot, excuse me, and jam with
Okay.
like jacks, sevens if we have them, which
Yeah.
I think we should, and then this hand, and then a few other hands that are in range as well. I didn't look too deeply into it because I'm not playing that line very often.
Mhm.
But anyways, we do check, and the button will check back. So on the
60?
river,
60 in the pot, right?
yep, 60
Okay.
in the pot.
And
They
you
have
and
74 behind.
sorry, just for visualization, it's king, jack, 10, 7, right?
Yep, 2
Okay.
hearts.
Mhm.
2 hearts. Okay.
And then the river is the 6 of clubs.
Okay.
So at this point, I range my opponent as not having a set. So not having jacks or kings in this spot.
Yeah, because you would have bet turn, we assume. Yeah.
I would think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those hands kind of just want to get the money in.
Yep.
And then so I'm putting him on some kind of one pair holding, or worse, maybe an ace high.
Yeah.
That I beat. So there could be an argument for going check here and seeing if you win. But I rather just thought he was going to fold almost 100% of his range.
You think he's folding like ace jack off here?
I would think so. Yeah. I think
For sure. Yeah.
it'd be hard to get them to fold ace king,
Yeah.
but it's possible.
Yeah.
Queens
And
is
then
a big
queens
part,
is yep,
I think.
yep, exactly. If there is any ace 10 in there, which
Okay.
there should be.
Yeah. I think
So yeah.
another hand I think should sometimes 4-bet is king queen off.
Mhm.
That's kind of a tricky one where it's like it's top pair, but it doesn't beat value.
Yeah. Might arguably be a better call than like ace king, but I didn't look into it too deep.
Yeah.
Um
Everything blocks part of your value, you know?
Right, exactly. Yeah, like this is a spot where 2 strong ranges are going head to head on a 3 Broadway board.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So 6 gets there, or 6 brings in 9-8 as a straight. Oh, well, I guess 9-8 was in on the turn. Never mind. What am I saying? Okay.
Yeah.
But all of those are reasonable hands that I could have in range. So I decided to actually turn this into a bluff, or what I thought was a bluff, because I didn't think there was enough merit to checking and hoping I win versus an ace 5 or an ace whatever
Yeah.
you name it. So we jam for 74 big blinds into 61.
Okay.
And we do get the fold.
You do.
So,
Okay. I mean, I like that because you're getting all the one pair hands to beat you to fold. And we kind of cap them.
And that's
at the,
most of the range, probably.
Yeah, and that's most of
I
the
think
range.
so.
Yeah. And then and then just having to go check and losing sounds just absolutely terrible there.
Yep. Yeah. And if your opponent isn't one that's going to, bluff river, well, I guess you're in a pretty difficult spot if you check to them and they blast ace 5, right?
Yeah.
You're not happy with 10-9.
Mhm.
But if your opponent isn't one to find those bluffs, it's just, I think it's okay to target mainly their value, because their bluffs are going to fold anyways.
What do you do on the turn if he bets there? Do we depend on the size? I mean, it's tough because now you have what, third pair with a double gutter.
Yeah,
But
it's quite difficult, I think.
but part of your straight draws might be dead.
hmm Yeah, I didn't actually look at that specifically.
Yeah. Okay.
So I should have, but I think what I would do personally is just fold.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
Fold. It just sucks. I
I
hate
think there's a point at which you get like compounding mistakes, and every mistake on future streets gets more expensive. So there's a case for when I call the turn. Well, what am I going to do on the river? You know.
Yep.
Um,
I like it. I really like that hand a lot. And I think you really explained well why you ran a good bluff on the river that ended up working and probably got the better hand to fold. I mean,
hopefully, yeah, we'll never know.
what four bet hands?
Yeah.
Sorry, what four bet hands did we say he would have that were actually still beating this point? Ace, not ace 10, not ace jack, not ace queen, none of them, right?
But it's
Ace
just
jack.
Ace jack, no, ace jack is ahead.
yeah, we have third pair.
Oh, that we're only ahead of like ace 5 suited.
Yeah, pure
So
airball
yeah, literally
bluffs.
just the air balls. Okay.
Mhm.
I wonder if
And honestly, I think with your small 3-bet sizing, he's going to 3-bet or 4-bet bluff a lot less because it's a cheaper call.
Mhm.
And yeah,
Yeah, he can just play
call
in
more of that
position.
stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome.
absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I love that. What site was that on?
This was on Global
Global
okay.
Poker.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm curious who you don't have to say on here, but I'm curious who the player was just based on what you said.
I think it was Tofu Stir Fry.
Okay, yeah.
But I don't know off the top of my head. I don't remember. It was a couple days ago.
For the listeners, Arlo and what? Well, I'm not sure how much Arlo's put on there in terms of time, but I know Wes has played a lot of cash games on Global, so a lot of the players are. It's like a very regular.
Yeah, I would be familiar with like all the regs on there.
Yeah. And then you see someone like me sit down at a table, and all of a sudden it just fills up immediately.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I have a great story about that.
Right,
I mean, Wes was involved. I was in Las Vegas in my hotel room. I forget what the stakes were. It was either 2-5 or 5-10. And I sat down at a cash table, and Wes happened to be there and was
that like a
around
year or
bit.
two ago?
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Yeah, I think it was 2-5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very similar story. I see it still happen now too. People are unfamiliar with me, so they'll flock into the tables when I sit down. It makes sense. Like,
yeah,
if that's the way you want to seek profit in this game, that's for you to decide.
Okay.
I personally don't do that, but
not the bum hunter. Let me ask you: when you sat down at 10:20, did the table fill up quick, or were you the last one to sit down? Just because, not saying that you're bad. It's just because when people don't know who you are, or they know that you're a tournament player and you come sit at cash, they're gonna bum hunt you regardless of what your skill level is.
Yeah, absolutely. They fill up rather quick when I'm there. Now the hours that I play, I usually play in the mornings.
Okay.
Like 7:30 a.m. to like 5 p.m.
Okay.
So I don't usually get a whole lot of people playing these stakes. That kind of happens more at night. But in my experience, yeah, the tables fill up pretty quick after I sit down. It'll be like one guy sitting there. I'll play him heads up for like 3 hands, and then it'll be 6 max.
Okay. Yeah. So. Yeah. Do you find that games are soft enough at those times of the day compared to, like, say, a weekend evening when people might have had a few drinks or something like that?
Yeah, there's definitely a point to be made there that these games are a little bit tougher, but I'm not one to shy away from some competition.
I like that.
I am still a little bit egotistical probably and overconfident in my game, but yeah.
Okay. Well, I hope, if, you know what, I'm gonna hold that. I was gonna say if you end up hitting a big old downswing, that might curb that enthusiasm a little bit. I've been through a bunch for myself, but
for sure.
I mean, you're already so far in terms of like skill level, so far ahead of what I've been my entire career. So I shouldn't even call it a career because I have other jobs, but in my poker career we'll call it. But yeah, without going through all those insane swings, you've already accumulated an insane amount of knowledge. So a lot of respect for your game. Wes, let's talk a little bit about your heads up match with Arlo. I love this.
Yeah.
This a defining moment in Wes's career, if I may.
I know a lot of people were rooting for Wes on his stream. So I
That's
heard.
what I gathered. Yeah. I mean, granted, I was streaming it, so people who are watching me might be rooting for me, but like there were
True.
people who probably know you better and they're rooting against you more so than
And to add to that,
anything.
I mean, Arlo, I don't know if you see it or not, but there's a lot of people that root for you too,
Yeah,
especially in our Discord.
absolutely.
Like I've seen a ton of people, being like, Arlo's got this run going or this run going, and people just like sweating you from a distance. So
Yeah, it's great
Yeah.
that the Minnesota community is really good about sweating all
it's huge.
Minnesota
Yeah,
action all over the world. Yeah.
really
So,
true. Yeah.
Yeah, so some context here for everybody. So this wasn't like a heads up match we played. We just got heads up in the 218 blitz on global on Sunday. It's a little bigger on Sunday, so 20K guaranteed. First place was 5K, second place was 3,400.
Must have overlaid.
It did a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
I think there were only 94 entries. So yeah, it would have slightly. And yeah, we got heads up. I mean, actually, let's start with before heads up, because Arlo and I came in we were the two big stacks at the final table. And there was a hand where I had pocket aces. I'd opened in the cutoff, and we were at least like 40 big. We were roughly 40 bigs effective. Arlo 3-bets to 9 bigs. I think maybe I had like 38 or something. He 3-bets to 9, which is pretty large at a final table, even out of position. And with aces, I decide to just flat as a trap, and we get an ace 8-6 flop. And Arlo just folds. He opened like he doesn't check, he doesn't see bet. He just he folds.
How?
And it was the funniest thing ever, because I'm like, oh, it felt like he literally saw my hand.
You know his screen name, right?
oh yeah.
His name, he goes by XrayArlo. He clearly could see your cards.
He could. He literally could.
I really, really have some questions, like some burning questions about this. What is it that makes you just click fold there rather than? I mean,
Yeah.
you're essentially eliminating your chance to win the hand. Is there something beyond that maybe creates an image that will get you paid in later that you might think that could do? Because I mean,
It might be. I think it is just tilting for a lot of players for that to happen.
It was definitely tilting for Mr. Top Set over here.
And I do it in spots that are somewhat unique. So when I'm 3-betting out of the big blind here, big stack on big stack on a final table.
You were small blind, I think.
Was I? Okay.
Yeah.
But anyways, my strategy will be very polar, so I'm gonna have just a lot of garbage.
Okay.
I'm trying to find the hand right now, but I don't think I'll be able to. But I imagine I had something like King 3 offsuit.
Okay.
So going fairly wide, just putting a lot of pressure on second place, and also using a bigger size to incentivize a fold.
And then when I decide to flat it, that's almost like it almost just is aces in a way.
Yeah, because that's what I think I actually said out loud, because I was on a call with some of the guys I previously mentioned. We were just hanging out. We stream our deep runs, And we're like, hey, everybody watch this. I got something cooking. But I was like, how does he ever flat here? I was like, he should just 4-bet. And so then I just folded, because I was a little bit upset myself. I was like, what is this?
What was the community response there with your friends?
Oh, they weren't paying enough attention. They're like, yeah, he probably shouldn't have flats. And I was like, I know. Like, I'm well aware of what the strategy is.
Well, it's just funny. I don't know if, I mean, when you 3-bet and you get the ace high dry board, it's just like, it's such a range, I guess, like a range bet spot, right? I guess you could check it too as a trap, but
I just felt like me not, having an ace.
But I think your
a lot
knowledge
of his calls to be ace X heavy.
Yeah, I think that makes exact sense. I mean, his range is pretty tight with the ICM that's happening at that final table. So that, that's. So
I think
sick.
had you gone, I was confused too, because I'm like, I almost don't like that you went so big there, because I'm like, if I click it back, that's almost half my stack. So I don't think I can have a click 4 bet here, really.
Mhm.
Like maybe even if you go to 7, yes, maybe I can have some flats at that point, but also like I could have some like I could click it back with some hands I could fold to a jam.
Yeah, it does make it does handcuff you a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah.
to be more honest with your continuing range.
Yeah. Which is like fine because I had aces,
Mhm.
but even when you made it that size, I took my time because I'm like, I really don't know unless he actually just has kings here. Like, how do I get more out of this?
That's a good point.
And
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah, you didn't even have the opportunity.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and you did that on another hand too, where I remember you had opened, there was a flatter. I defended big blind, and then it was like Jack 3 or something. Or no,
Yep.
Jack 5, because I remember I actually folded. So I checked, you checked, and then the guy bet.
Yep.
And I actually folded 6s there.
Okay.
I
And
remember.
in
I
part,
remember. I actually watched this hand as well, and you're like, I just don't think that. Yeah, I remember. I remember exactly.
yeah,
What
I was like,
I remember
this
this
guy's
spot.
flats. The guy flatted from, I don't know, like hijack at a final table. And he was like, he had 21 bigs to start. So for me, I'm like, oh, when he flats, that's like, he could have some aces. Like, he's going to have pocket pairs. He's going to have like strong suited broadways. And so if it checks to him and he chooses to bet, I think my 6s are pretty crushed.
Shriveled. Yeah.
Also, Arlo can still check raise. And so,
Okay.
I just folded. Like, I'm just calling pre-flop to try and hit a 6, really. Anyways, so I folded the 6s on Jack 5. Arlo, in fact, does check raise there. The guy calls, and then Arlo open folds that turn as well. So that happened before my aces came. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
had already seen this.
Oh, I love it.
And I assume that was one where you were just bluffing and you're like, okay, he just
It was
yeah.
a spot where I was bluffing on the flop and then didn't get a card to continue on, so I was just giving up anyways.
Okay.
Yeah, you're like, I'm
I'm
drawing
going to
red
check
here.
fold, so instead of check folding, I just fold.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
So you guys continue moving forward here. Everybody else busted, and you guys got heads up. I don't remember what the blind started at, or not the blind level, but like
Yeah.
what
I
you guys
actually
had.
had close to a 2-1 chip lead at this point. I know during 3-handed, I won
yeah,
a bunch
you
of
were
hands.
destroying me 3-handed.
And then yeah, so I think Arlo chipped it back up to chip lead at some point, didn't he?
Yep.
Slightly, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I remember I did.
I remember the final hand. Wes got it in so good.
I do as well.
I mean, yeah, so there was a hand where I got cooler. I guess Arlo technically 3-outed me, but he was value betting the turn and I just had a better hand. And I think it was he had limped King 7 on the button. I checked King Jack offsuit in the big blind. It was Queen 6-3, check, turn king. I check, he bets pot, I call. River 7, I check, he bets pot, I call. He has King 7 versus my King Jack. That was, I mean, most of the pots were just really small.
Yeah.
You know, there wasn't a whole lot going on. Then there was one where I defended King of Hearts, Deuce of Spades. Arlo had opened, I called. The flop, was it 8-7-6, 2 hearts?
Yep.
And then, so it was check. I think turn was a 5. Is that right? Or was it a
turn
9?
was a 6, right? Or wait, flop was, sorry.
I think
the board was 9-8-7-6 at some point.
Yes. Yes. It was 9-8-7-6, turn, check. River ace of hearts.
Yep.
So I just have king high, but I have the nut flush blocker. I check. Now Arlo bets like half pot or maybe a little more.
I want to say he bet like
2/3.
Didn't he bet like 3 bigs and you jammed like 20 or something?
Yeah, I think I jammed 22. I check jammed 22 bigs.
Yeah.
Obviously,
what did you have that hand, Arlo? Was it value?
Yeah, I had ace
Definitely.
5. I
Okay.
had the bottom end of the straight.
Oh
So I
yeah.
had ace of spades, 5 of clubs.
Holy Wes, you sick fuck.
Yeah, I have the hand pulled up. Yeah.
You
Oh, I
do.
did bet half pot. Yeah. I
Okay.
bet 2.5 into 4.2. And
Okay.
then West Jam 23.
That's just sick.
Yeah.
That's just
And yeah, it wasn't really running through my head that this was a flush, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah, I was just thinking it was a 10, like almost
Hmm.
always. I was like,
that's fair
that
too. Yeah.
sucks. So yeah,
I
I don't
think,
think I was folding a 10 if I did have a 10. But I think a
Mhm.
5 I was okay with folding.
Yeah, after the turn, I didn't think you had a 10, and you can certainly have, I don't know, the flushes though, like the ace is out there, I have the king, so I feel like you're betting a decent amount of flush draws before that, and
Hmm.
I
Yep.
would play a flush this way at times, and I would go for it all, especially against someone who I know can hero call.
Yeah. God, I was
But
so close. I took like
I
the whole time bank.
just the whole time bank.
Yeah.
I no, I remember sweating. I was watching the stream at this point, and I was like, "Oh shit, you're about to get snapped off, Wes." That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then you guys were pretty close in chips. I remember, if I remember correctly, roughly 20 bigs. Wes sends in ace 3-0 pre, gets snapped by ace jack, and just hits the damn three to ship it. I mean, whoever wins that hand wins the tournament essentially.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh man, that was sick.
I mean,
So,
I've blown some big chip leads heads up in poker tournaments before, so you never know.
yeah, but what
But
I mean, it's just funny because like
yeah,
even when we're playing online, and which is available across the country, we're still getting heads up against Arlo. Like you just can't get away from
yeah.
the kid.
I actually have a question. So I've played a lot of heads up cash, heads up tournaments. I actually, obviously, you don't get there that frequently, but when you do, it's important to know what to do. I think my jam, I didn't really love it because you had limped the button, and you had 21 or 22 bigs.
Yep.
And then I just ripped ace 3 off. Like if you had opened, I think my jam is really standard. But I think against limp, maybe it's still fine, but it seems a little excessive to rip over 20.
Yeah, I haven't looked into spots super in depth like that.
Yeah.
I just know
Same.
how I'm constructing my range, and it's mostly limp,
Yeah.
with some raising of hands that are, what's the word? Uh, like resistant to three bets, like that they're going to be able to call when you three bet non all in. Like if I open to 2 and you make it
Yeah.
6, or something like that, I'm going to be able to call. So these are going to be like suited hands or things like that.
Does that change? So when we're like 20 bigs deep, what I almost do is the hands, because a lot of the three bets are going to be all in.
Hmm.
Some of those
Sure.
playable hands I like to limp more because then I can call a raise
Absolutely.
versus,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then some of the junk, like a jack 5 off, I could
Yeah.
raise
You're
fold
probably right
easily.
that the opening range should be more polar. Just
And
fold to
then
jam or either call the jam. Yeah.
yeah, and then like fifth, for 50 or 40 big blinds deep, then it's back to what you were saying. I
Yeah. The
don't know
stuff
that
that's
for
resilient.
sure. I
I
know when
think you're
I've
right.
studied heads up tournaments, it's like a lot of hands just mix too. And I'm like, well, what? Okay, so I can just do anything I feel like. And
Yep. Absolutely. That's how I think about it as well. I'm like, all right,
yeah.
buckle up.
Yeah. Admittedly, too, sometimes my strategy I'm going to go with at a specific heads up is a little more based on what I get dealt the first hand. Let's say I get dealt kings. I'm like, I'm doing a raising strategy this time. I'm gonna build this pot a little bit, But then
Yeah.
I have to not just be playing my hand face up every time. So I stay with that strategy more.
Yeah. There's definitely a little bit of deception that comes into play heads up and in my game anyways. And I think
Mhm.
to pivot a little bit and touch on an important thing that I wanted to touch on is doing whatever you want was a comment you made, right? Like all these things,
Mhm.
mixing frequencies and all that. I think if you're looking at things that in depth and you're not playing 10Ks and above, you're probably too
Mhm.
deep in the weeds.
Yep.
So like I'm a big proponent or supporter of doing whatever you want. Like if
Mhm.
something feels right, you do it. Like, I don't care what anything says about it. And I think that's a really important skill to have in poker. And I think it stems from like a fearless nature as well. Because I know people talk a lot about fear in poker and letting it control your decisions, or maybe leads you to not make the best decision that you could.
Yeah.
Or yeah.
I'm an even
So
bigger fan now. Like I love that. I mean, it's so true though. Like and just to kind of go further into why you mean that about the 10 you're not playing 10Ks and up is because a lot of the fields under 10Ks, like these 1100 MSPTs, these are mostly just recreational players who are just doing whatever, splashing around. And to try and implement these deep strategies against these opponents who are playing so far from GTO is just going to bury you.
mhm, absolutely, yeah. Like checking a value hand 50% of the time,
Yeah.
in theory, and I'm just betting it 100%
Yeah,
of the time.
because these guys just
Mhm.
they came with their farm money and they want to see what you got. So you're
Mhm.
gonna you just bet 2 times pot. I hope that's not
Yeah, or they're a
offensive.
stubborn kid like me and they want to see what you got.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
can't
me
believe it
too.
Yeah.
till I see
Let
it.
me
Yeah.
ask you, what do you think one of your biggest leaks is? And maybe this is tough to ask on a podcast, but or maybe one of your biggest leaks was like a past leak, something that you improved. I mean, I know for me, one of it is being too curious on the river, calling. You know,
Mhm.
I mean, yeah. What's something that maybe you've overcome and maybe isn't a current leak? So
Yeah, something that I mean I've changed in my strategy a lot is I was actually like being too aggressive,
Mhm.
which is like people don't realize that that's also a bad thing.
yeah.
But I was probably three betting. When I was learning, I was playing the strategy of three bet any hand you want to play. So I was probably
Mhm.
three betting like 25%, when in reality it should be like around 11 or something like
Okay.
that. Um,
Do you
so
think it's
I,
important to you to go through those motions to be able to dial it back to a solid point, though? So
For
you kind
sure.
of knew.
Yeah. Yeah, and then learning more about, oh, I can actually just like call this hand. Like
Okay.
I always had this thing in my head where I was like, you can't call. It's so weak. Like people are never going to believe you. Like
Okay.
stuff like that.
Uh, It's funny
So
because
that
I think most people are the opposite. They just get too sticky. They don't three bet enough, and especially in like
mhm,
1100s where I'm talking about. Like
Yeah.
they
for
just
sure.
end.
Yeah, I think if you're gonna do one, like three betting too much opposed to calling too much is better.
Yeah.
But it can still get. I would actually agree with that. That was one of your leaks. Like,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
not that we played tons together, but I remember literally at the final table the other day, we got to showdown when we were the top two stacks, and you had ace queen off, and you had just flatted big blind. And I'm like, oh my god, like he wasn't aggressive with that. Like that's and clearly it was because you didn't want to get it in, but it was such a
Mhm.
strong hand. So,
Yeah. Yeah. There's
anyways,
some
yeah,
ICM considerations
You
that
should
play
have
into that.
heard what Wes was
yeah,
saying before today's podcast about you, and it was not negative. It was like I don't remember verbatim what it was, but it was something along the lines of "You got something special that other people don't have," and he's
I
yeah,
appreciate that. I've
yeah.
heard that
yeah.
in negative context as well. So that
I mean, yeah, like at this point, you can kind of have your results speak for themselves, where it's like you've certainly in your game. I'm sure you've made mistakes that other people wouldn't have made, but like it's because you're doing the overall result of the things you're doing is positive,
I agree with that. Yeah.
and yeah, I was actually going to ask too. You had mentioned earlier mental game stuff, and I remember this summer, probably August or so, you had talked a bit about mental game stuff in the Discord, and I remember I texted you like, "Hey, yeah, like, I agree with that." Talk about sort of your progression of improving your mental game and what that looks like in poker.
yeah. I'm sure people could go back. Well, actually, they probably can't go back and find that message. I had to rejoin Suited Kings. I was just
Oh, okay.
overwhelmed with the noise and like wanting
Yeah,
to respond to people and being like, ah. So I was in a weird place with it, to be honest.
Shame,
sure.
I know.
shame.
Shame me, shame me.
It's
I
all good.
deserve it. Um, but I don't remember exactly what I said in that post, but it was a couple of specific examples of some of the progress I've made in that space. And I think where I started making progress was just getting more information. So I read Jared Tendler's book, The Mental Game of Poker.
I read
I
that as
would
well.
like to get another one called like The Joy of Poker. I forget who writes it, but it came out recently because I think that helps hone in on really finding enjoyment in the game and getting back to to why we play it in the first place. And I'm sure why we all play it is just because we love the
Mhm.
intricacies of it, or we love the gamble, we love the deep runs,
Yeah.
all the stuff about it, that you can't ignore. So I think that was a big starting place for me, was just getting all this information about what other successful people are doing, and
Mhm.
how they're handling themselves. So I would highly
What
recommend that book.
was there, good recommendation, by the way. Is there a time I know you talked about, like, building up an online role and then tilting it off, which I think plenty of people can relate to. Was there a time when you sort of like, how when you take a bad beat now, how much different is that than a few years ago? How or like a sequence of bad beats maybe?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, when it happens online and I'm sitting at my desk and like maybe only my girlfriend is home, like I'm gonna complain a little bit. I'm gonna like I have these little stress balls. I'm gonna like throw them on the
Mm.
desk. Um, so it does still, like, I'm still emotionally attached to the game, and like things like that still do hurt.
Don't ever
Um,
lose
Mhm.
that though, because that's the
yeah,
human side of
absolutely.
things. You
And
know
I
what I
think
mean?
that's part of why I might have tilted things off in the past, because I had this disconnect where I was just like, that money is just numbers on a screen. Like that's not even real.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
then I was like, oh shit, that's real money. Like that hurts.
Yeah.
Um,
Uh,
Sorry, I totally blew past your question, Wes. Could you
That's
ask it
okay.
one more time?
How do they, you know, now versus a few years ago, how do bad beats feel differently?
Right. So in
Or
live
sequences
poker,
of run bad, maybe?
yeah, in live poker, I've certainly seen a difference in my attitude. I know I used to like make snide comments, when I busted out like, "Oh, what a jackass call" or something.
Yeah.
Um, I don't do that anymore because, I mean, like I said, I'm starting to believe in this. You can do whatever you want. Like if that player wants to
Mhm.
make that decision, cool. Like
yeah.
that's out of my
Yep.
control. And I think
Amen.
that's a big
Honestly.
aspect of it. So it's just focusing on what you can control. Um,
Yeah.
you're like, hey, if I get it in aces versus kings 100 times, gonna lose 20 of them.
Well, let's talk
Like,
Mhm.
about let's go on the opposite end on to something where you make an actual mistake that is your fault, that is within your
mm,
control.
hmm
Um, reflect on that. Do you? Because I find that's when I've said this so many times on the podcast, but you absolutely nailed it. It's like, why waste energy and get upset on things that are out of your control? And it's a skill that I built up a lot over the years, but I definitely get angry at myself when I realize it's something I did wrong. The drive home
yeah,
is much more difficult. I still hold off from actually verbalizing those remarks, but don't get me wrong,
yeah.
they're still floating around up in there.
It's very much a learned skill to be resilient with what you can and can't control, and bad beats and such. But on the other aspect of that you were touching on, when it is my fault, I mean, I have very perfectionist tendencies. Like I'll know immediately after the hand, like I made a mistake. And sometimes it's not even like a mistake that hurts me. Sometimes it's like I missed a value bet,
Yeah,
which I kick
Mhm.
myself about. It's like I
yeah,
won the hand,
yeah.
but I
Yep.
didn't do it to the level at which I'm satisfied with. Um,
That
so I very much
reflection,
kick
yeah.
myself about that. But the way I handle it is I kind of just push it off until like a study day. So like
Mhm.
you'll round up your Sunday session of hands and tag a few and be like, hey, I think I made a mistake here, here, and here. I'm going to review it later. So that's kind of
Mhm.
how I maintain focus in a session, and don't let it distract me from continuing to play, is kind of
So important.
pushing it off and knowing that I'll get to it later, so I won't make that mistake again. Or if I do, at least it'll be less severe.
And that's gotten
Mhm.
easier as you've done it over and over, I'm assuming. That's a skill that definitely can be built.
Yeah, repetition is a big thing in this game as well.
I think
That's
you kind
why.
of nailed it though in terms of it's just being immediately honest with yourself that like, hey, I made this mistake and I'm going to go back and work on it at a different time to improve it so it doesn't continue to happen.
Hmm.
And not allow it to like you mentioned earlier, compound into further mistakes.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, and
Well,
that's why drills are so important. I think that's a great study tool as well. I know we touched on this earlier, but just creating a drill, like creating a three bet drill, like, and just doing it over and over and over again.
I'm curious on that. Before we start wrapping up here, what do some drills look like for you? How do you set those up? What do they look like?
Yeah, I think drills for me, I mean, I like my aggressive drills. So I like 3-bet drills. I like check raise drills, like finding some fringe combos out of the big blind. Like, how do you check raise on king 7 deuce? Well, you're going to take hands that are, around the 7. So you're going to check raise hands like 9-10 sometimes, which like seems insane.
I get it though.
But it's just
Yeah.
ways to be more aggressive in spots.
Are you doing this
that
on
aren't-
GTO Wizard or where?
Yeah, you can build out drills on there. They have a nice little trainer tool.
Okay.
I'm sure there's tutorials online about how to use it.
Yep.
And then they're custom is the cool thing. So if you identify something in your game that you want to get better at or more familiar with, you can use those to just kind of
Just tackle
practice.
it. That's super cool. I have actually dabbled with that very lightly. It's been some time now, but I think that may be something I try to get back onto this year.
Yeah, very helpful.
Awesome. Well, go ahead, Wes.
Yeah. Dang it! What was I going to ask?
Oh
I just forgot.
You forgot something. I can't believe it.
I literally just forgot.
It's quite all right.
Yeah, no, we were talking about drills. Oh yeah. And what I was going to say about that actually was, and I'm going to speak from my own personal experience. I think one of the tricky things for me about, like, at some point I realized I was under check raising, and it wasn't that I even didn't know what to check raise. It was like I didn't feel confident in how I would follow that up on the turn if I got called with some of these uncomfortable hands. And so I think you want to study these things, and then you also want to make sure you are having some rules in your head for how you follow up on the turn. So let's say you had 10-9 on king 7 deuce. It's like you get called. So then you're like, okay, I'm going to continue barreling any of the turn cards that give me a straight draw. And then I'm going to give up on the others. Like that's probably what the case would be. And I mean, maybe not for you, who knows, but
no, that was another huge leak of mine, is just wanting to win every hand, So I get what you're saying there.
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to be okay just letting it go.
Yeah, right. And that's the thing too. I think especially when we have seen check raised pots, like the biggest pots we all see are, from live streams or whatever, are the ones where it's like, oh, the check raise triple barrel, that sort of thing. So I think there's this idea that, oh, if I take an aggressive action, I need to continue that. And I think one good thing to realize is you don't need to, and you shouldn't always. Like you can give up after a check raise or a 3-bet and c-bet.
Yeah, I learned that very recently.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I have 2 more questions for you, Arlo. First one is a reoccurring question, and I'm curious actually which route you're going to go with here. I'm sure you've heard it before, but is poker an art or is it a science?
Yeah, I've been thinking about this one for a couple days actually, and now I've forgotten what my long-winded answer was. But to keep it short, I believe that poker is an art, because you can just sit down and make it what you want. Now, the foundations of the game aren't going to change, and they're based in math. So if you want to call that science, great. But to play, you don't have to know anything about that. You just can do whatever you want. So I think it's definitely an art.
I mean, that's just a great, simple answer. And I feel like we've gotten much more of like either like scientific leading or a combination of the two.
I think both is the most common answer.
Yeah, both is probably the most common answer. We don't get enough arts, and I really like that because I think, like you said, it's very subjective, and in a game where everybody plays it differently, as long as you're good at being creative, you can really get a long ways in this game.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be based on what the computer says. So I do like that answer. And then the second question I wanted to end off with here. What's next in line here now that you're a professional player? Like, are you for live, for online? How long do you see it going? What's the future look like?
Yeah. I don't necessarily have like a 5-year plan. I think I think I did just need a break. So I mean, if this ends up being a 6-month stint and then I go back to some part-time gig as well, I could see that happening.
That's what I did too.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I said.
So I'm leaving my options open, and I think that's what's important. But for the next year, definitely a lot of online poker to be played.
Yeah.
Probably like 18 days out of a month.
Okay.
And then live poker, I'm trying to go to just more big stuff, most of it MSPT. So next stop for me is Arizona at
Love
the
it.
end of the month. I'll be down in Talking Stick for the MSPT. I just love their tournaments and
I heard it's going to be
the
a
guys
big
that
one.
run it. So
It's $1 million
Mhm.
guaranteed, I believe. So, and the weather's going to be nice. If my wife wasn't, about to burst at the seams with our child, I I would be out there doing it and bringing my
I hear
golf
you.
clubs as well.
Priorities. Oh yeah, we'll be golfing as well.
Yeah.
I'm horrible at golf.
We
Need
all
lessons
are.
there
Let's
for
be
sure.
real. It's like,
Yeah.
Man, golf is just so hard. But all right, that sounds good. I do look forward to seeing you crush it throughout 2026. Yeah, I mean, you and all of your friends just kind of stepped into the scene and but all just kind of made a bang. Literally every single one of you. Um, yeah, any last words that you kind of wanted to talk about, or any last thoughts that you want to get off the mind before we wrap it up here?
I guess I'll give one plug to myself because I don't know where I'm going to take it. But if you want to follow along action that I'm participating in or big scores that I have, you can follow me on Twitter or X, I guess I should say. I still call it Twitter.
Me too.
Yeah.
I do as well.
My @ is Arlo and then STRO, so the first 4 letters of my last name. So I
Arlo
post
Stro.
updates
Okay.
there. Sometimes it's my personal Twitter, so I'll retweet things that aren't poker related. So
Okay.
follow at
Mhm.
your own risk, but
Yeah.
Sounds good. And then also, you guys can find him on the felt at XrayArlo. I'm sure if you didn't know that was him, now you do. And he's all over the place. You can definitely see him in the live streets online. You'll be seeing him at MSPT stops. Arlo, thank you so much for taking the time to come in here today and just share a piece of your mind with us.
absolutely, yeah. I hope some people can take away value from some point of this podcast. So
That sounds good. All
For
right.
sure.
Well, hope you guys have a good rest of your day. And don't forget the fish fry this weekend at Running Aces in Columbus, Minnesota. And if you haven't yet, make sure to check out Tilted Compass, our Discord, Wes's online streaming challenge. All that good stuff can be found in the links in the description. So go and check that out after you're done listening here. And also, if you wouldn't mind just leaving us a 5-star review if you enjoy this podcast to help the algorithms, as well as a follow. Anything that you can do to just help push the podcast, we appreciate greatly. And we will see you guys at the fish fry.